Number 10. Cat burglar. Catwoman is an expert thief as well as a lady with a passion for all things feline. Monique Augustino, a 25-year-old Australian model and influencer on Instagram, but she took her role as Catwoman a little too far, getting busted for masked robbery and shoplifting. But where's Batman when you need him? The year before this arrest, she had been warned by the Australian magistrate Jacqueline Millage that her life was, and I quote, going down the toilet. She had joined a group of teenagers robbing businesses in Sydney. One of those robberies included using a chisel to break open the doors of a pizza restaurant where she was caught red-handed by the surveillance video. She also tried breaking into a convenience store called House of Fruit and a cafe. According to the New York Post, when she was convicted again, she was charged with carrying a knife at Target, possessing crystal meth, and for stealing a jacket worth $90. This landed her 2 years in prison. She was sentenced to 2 years, but got out on bail after appealing. But this fake Catwoman didn't show up to court for the appeal process, making things even worse for herself. If that wasn't bad enough, she violated her conditions of bail along the way. This kitty's got claws. Number 9. Darth Robber. If you were at a bank and a 6-foot-tall guy dressed up in a Darth Vader costume entered and tried to rob the place, what would you think? Well, according to reports, one person in Suffolk County, New York didn't take the situation very seriously back in 2010. The Sith cosplayer wore the Star Wars Darth Vader mask, black gloves, and a black cape. He also wore camouflage pants alongside the familiar Star Wars garb, but there were indications that this was indeed a real robbery, despite the robber's strange appearance. Carrying a semi-automatic pistol may have been one signal for customers to not horse around. One unfortunate customer found themselves shoved to the floor after he laughed at the evil father of Luke Skywalker. The aggravated Darth bank robber yelled, quote, "This is not a joke." He then pointed the pistol at the bank tellers and made them fill up bags with money. We're guessing his voice sounded like the actual characters, you know, all deep and muffled. The Sith Lord then fled the scene on a motorbike. As of now, he is still at large. Number 8. The Punisher. Our next story from 2021 is a brutal one. It focuses on someone who likes to cosplay as a Marvel character, the Punisher. In the comics and TV show, he's an Avenger who pursues criminals with extreme prejudice. Connor Deegan from London seems to be the opposite of that, because he attacked an innocent person with a knife and almost killed them. An 18-year-old girl was approached at a park by Deegan, who tricked her into accompanying him into the toilets. Once there, he stabbed her several times in her stomach and neck. According to reports, Deegan nearly hit her main neck artery, but thankfully didn't. The victim managed to convince him she was dead, and he moved on. She found refuge with a family whose door she knocked on at random. They helped her by stopping her wounds from bleeding and called the paramedics. To everyone's relief, she made it through. Deegan was caught by the cops. He had in his possession a bag with 2 knives, a balaclava, and some gloves. His clothes were covered in blood, so it didn't take much to connect him to the crime. Deegan's cosplaying as the Punisher was a fact discovered later by police. He received a sentence of over 9 years behind bars. Frank Castle himself would be appalled. Number 7. Not a Joker. Batman's nemesis, the Joker, is the clown prince of crime, and thankfully he is a fictional character. Though when some people dress up as him, it leads to big trouble. In 2021, a passenger on a train in Tokyo caused a horrifying scene during Halloween when he allegedly began stabbing other passengers on the train. Three people sustained serious injuries with 17 overall hurt. One elderly man suffered a particularly brutal attack. People ran screaming down the aisles of the train carriages and scrambling out of windows trying to escape. 24-year-old Kyoto Hattori also reportedly caused a fire in the carriage using oil before taking a cigarette break on the train. Police arrived and arrested him. According to reports, his crimes were planned well in advance, and he had purchased a knife online for the grisly purpose. He allegedly carried with him lighter fuel and hydrochloric acid. Hattori reportedly wanted to commit mass murder, and we're thankful he didn't get to carry it out. When in police custody, he revealed his disappointment at not taking any lives. Hattori also said that he wanted the death penalty for his actions. Why was he dressed as the Joker? He was reportedly a big fan of the character. Hattori didn't don the famous makeup, but did carry out his terrible crime wearing a purple suit. Some of the shocked passengers thought Hattori was just pulling a Halloween prank at first, making the scenario even more horrific. They were, in fact, being confronted by someone who seemed to believe their life was falling apart and wanted to draw attention to themselves in the worst way possible. Cosplay is typically a fun and lighthearted activity, but as you've seen, it also has a dark side. Sometimes things go a little askew, and other times things go very, very wrong. Number 6. The Last Unicorn. In Baldwin, Maryland, early in the morning on March 16, 2019, 28-year-old Jacob William Rogue set out to rob a convenience store. Knowing that the store had security cameras, he decided he needed a disguise. What did he choose? A pink and white unicorn costume. We aren't sure if he was a big fan of the mythical creature or what, but at 5 a.m. he walked into High's Dairy store in full costume with a crowbar. He used the crowbar to smash a register before fleeing or galloping out with cash and cigarettes. After his heist was done, Rogue ditched the unicorn costume and got into a silver Hyundai Elantra driven by his accomplice, 27-year-old Joseph Philip Saveze, and the two criminals left the scene. But they didn't get very far. While speeding away, they got into a car accident at an intersection, and as a result, the car collided with mailboxes, a Baltimore gas and electric pole, some bushes, and a boulder before finally hitting a tree. Police and paramedics arrived quickly, and Rogue and Saveze were taken into a nearby hospital. They were both hurt pretty badly. Both men were charged with theft, robbery, and armed robbery. Rogue was also charged with destruction of property and first and second degree assault. Is that karma? Oh, and the police also recovered the pretty unicorn costume with Rogue's DNA all over it. Number 5. Anime Intruder. Because of the colorful and exciting costumes and characters that come with cosplay, there's a lot of potential for extreme things to happen. Some cosplayers might think they are really the character that they're playing, or they might feel emboldened to try something they wouldn't normally do. In the case of 37-year-old Tetsuya Fujisawa from the city of Izuka in Kyushu, Japan, he went to the next level by using cosplay for criminal activity. He was dressed in an Evangelion cosplay outfit modeled on the plug suit uniforms the anime's mecha pilots characters wear. Underneath that, he had on a woman's one-piece swimsuit and black tights. Nice. In this costume, he reportedly broke into someone's home in 2019 and made off with $153, according to reports. And this wasn't his first rodeo. Fujisawa had been imprisoned for similar crimes before. Did he get to do cosplay in prison? Probably not. In one case, he dressed as Spider-Man while trespassing onto someone's property. Nothing friendly about that neighborhood Spider-Man, that's for sure. It's thought he may have carried out 10 such burglaries dressed as different fictional characters. The interesting thing is that, when talking to authorities, Fujisawa stated that the business of putting on a costume led him to wanting to break the law and burglarize people. But clearly, it isn't the costumes that are to blame for what he did. Number 4. Fairy Assault. It shouldn't be a surprise to learn that costume criminal activity is more common around the holidays, specifically Halloween. Amid the drunken antics and petty mischief, however, are more consequential infractions. Such was the case in Auburn, Alabama in 2018. At roughly 4:30 a.m. on November 1st, an unidentified 18-year-old was walking near the Auburn University campus when, for reasons unknown to police, a man dressed in a fairy costume walked up and punched him hard right in the face and then just took off. The 18-year-old was taken to the hospital. There it was found that the victim's jaw had been broken by this strange fairy. The police were notified and an investigation ensued. On November 7th, 19-year-old John David Wood was arrested for the attack. He was positively identified as the man who'd punched the victim. Wood was charged with felony second-degree assault and locked up in the Lee County Jail on $25,000 bond. He never gave a reason for why he attacked the kid or why he was dressed up like Tinkerbell. Number 3. Oh Myers. From one iconic character to another, Michael Myers is a different kind of threat than Catwoman, of course. He's had something of a revival thanks to the recent Halloween movies, and in 2021 he made a surprise appearance in Galveston, Texas. At least it seemed like he did anyway. The truth is, this was actually someone's idea of a cosplay-based joke, and by the looks of it, a rather freaky one at that. Perhaps the strangest thing of all about the story is that he chose to go to the beach in full killer costume. To complete the look, he also had a knife with what looked like blood on it. Top marks for effort, but imagine the fright he gave people that were simply out walking their dogs. It's just so odd seeing Michael Myers out of context like this. Whoever did this put a lot of thought into their impromptu performance, it seems. So, who's the man behind the mask? Meet Mark Metzger. It's pretty peculiar and ironic that he has the same initials as the guy he's playing, right? There doesn't appear to be much of an explanation as to why he decided to go to the beach as Michael Myers. The knife he carried was fake and he didn't actually attack anyone, but that's not the point. He was cited by cops for what's described as disorderly conduct. Is it disorderly conduct when you nearly give someone a heart attack? Hopefully now people can enjoy the beach without the fear of running into any off-duty horror movie characters. Number 2. Fallout fail. Video games are naturally very popular, prompting people to dress up as their favorite characters all the time. Fallout is one of the most played games of all time. This phenomenon is accompanied by groups of people wanting to bring the universe of the game to life. When this goes wrong, however, there's a fair degree of, well, fallout. Get it? In 2017, someone decided it would be a good idea to go for a walk in a full fantasy costume. Dressed in a belt of bullets, body armor, and with his face hidden by a gas mask, it's safe to say that this isn't something, or indeed someone, you see every day. Can you imagine seeing someone dressed up like this? If you're not familiar with the game and it's nowhere near Halloween, you might think this guy was about to start taking people out. We don't know exactly why this individual opted to leave the house dressed like that, but we're thinking he either wanted to express his love for the game or draw a lot of attention to himself. He certainly received some attention, alright, from the police. Passersby were understandably freaked out by his flag reading, quote, New California Republic, and what looked like a bomb attached to him. Actually, it was a few Pringles cartons painted silver. Talk about once you pop, you can't stop, right? The situation happened not in an apocalyptic landscape, obviously, but the more pleasant surroundings of the Canadian city of Grand Prairie. When cops cautiously approached the man, they realized they weren't actually in any danger. The guy was just goofing around. One of the police said in an interview afterwards, quote, There's a time and place for it, he said, pointing out that costumes are okay at conventions and similar events, but wandering around downtown is maybe not the place to do it. Number 1. Yandere Freak. This upsetting case shows that cosplayers can go too far, whether in costume or not. A cosplayer known as Yandere Freak, who often dresses up as anime characters, shot a friend dead at the start of 2021 in what appears to be an accident. A real gun was being fooled around with, but apparently no one knew it contained bullets. The tragedy has stunned fans of Yandere Freak, real name Marianne Oliver Snow. Snow reportedly has over 1.5 million followers on TikTok. Controversy was caused by Snow posting new content after the dramatic incident. They have since stopped doing this and put their account settings on private. Snow has been charged with manslaughter and a trial date has yet to be set. This is a timely reminder that behind the colorful costumes are actually people with very real lives. In this case, reality has tragically collided with the world of cosplay. Thanks for watching. Are there any crazy cosplayers that you think should have been included on our list? Let us know in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time on The Bad Badger.